This week it's Kia's 2023 Niro hybrid electric vehicle. I'm going to take you through some of its features and then we'll take it out on the road and I'll tell you what I think of it. I think you'll agree that this model looks considerably better than the model it replaced. They've done away with that tiger nose Peter Schrager grille and now they've gone to this boxy look, but they've taken the boxy look and they own it. Every line is strong and it kind of means something. The headlight arrangement, unusual and very complex. And from the side you can see that it is an SUV, sort of. They call these SUVs or crossovers. There's nothing really very SUV about it. It's really just a little hatchback. Kia have kept the range really simple. There's either the S or the GT line. And they're both front wheel drive and they're both with the same hybrid system. It is a bit of a shock if you're not used to it, like me, to have to get a key out of your pocket to lock and unlock things, and you also need it for the ignition. In this base model, the top model of course has all that covered. But this is a fairly generous boot, and under the floor is a space saver spare, which I like a lot. I've never had a repair kit work yet. There's little handy things inside like bag hooks and all the stuff that you expect from Kia. Look, it's not a huge luggage space, but it's certainly okay for this segment. The seats go down 60-40 and they're not quite flat. And as you can see, the tailgate is a manual affair that's pretty easy to operate. But the biggest surprise for me by far was the amount of room in the back. This is kind of like a TARDIS. Look how much space there is for my knees, and that's with the seat set for me. There's a couple of USB points for rear passengers, so up here where they're useful. A couple of vents, and the upholstery is nice and neat. And even the part on the top of the back doors where most brands really cheap out on the entry-level models, this is hard, but it doesn't feel cheap. The backs of the seats, they're hard, but that doesn't feel cheap either. The headlining, no, that's looks like felted cardboard, which I'm not all that fussed on. The front, though, is a triumph. It's simple, it's elegant. Even these surfaces here, this sort of textured surface, it feels like quality. There's a little bit of ribbing down here and this plastic here, and this is something that I'm always critical of with car manufacturers that make this area piano black. And it shines every time the car moves in afternoon sun. You get blinded by this light. Not so here. This is afternoon sun and there's no light blinding going on. And I've been driving this car around all week and I didn't realize that what was in front of me wasn't an LCD screen. It's only this little bit in the middle that's an LCD screen. The rest is imitating LCD. It looks like LCD to me. And I'm okay with that. The next model up, the GT line, does have twin 10.25-inch screens, but this is plenty. This is another bit where people often come unglued in Kias. This is a two-way touchscreen. So that's for vents and climate control and so forth, and that's for audio and menus and what have you. There's a couple of USBs in front and a 12-volt, a nice little tray. But have a look at this clever little armrest. Has a lift out bit, so it all becomes one bit. Let me chuck that in the glove box. And disappearing cup holders. So you can have the whole thing used as a cup holder or as whatever you want it to be used as. Alrighty, let's go for a ride and see what this is like. So the hybrid is mounted on the gearbox. The gearbox in this is a 6-speed DCT, so a proper one, not a bloody CVT, which, as you know, I hate. I put it into gear and nothing happens. This is in EV mode, so the battery's got enough power to move me off. Here's the battery flow here, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you something that really made me cheer when I got into this car. There's nothing connected by cable and I've got CarPlay. Look. Kia finally has wireless CarPlay. Hurrah! So they've sorted out their issues. So I will go into my save places There we go, lovely, and start. Now the only difference is of course that that won't show up in my cluster, whereas if I use the inbuilt navigation it will. The electric handbrake's released and I'm moving off. The engine's just started, I just heard that start. I didn't know what to expect of Niro and I wasn't quite sure where it fitted in because it is quite expensive as far as entry-level Kias go, but it's not expensive as far as entry-level hybrids go. And for hybrids, we always look at Toyota because Toyota are the hybrid kings. They may be resisting EVdom with every fibre of their being, but they're certainly making a fabulous job of hybrids. I think Kia's caught up. As I said outside, the thing with hybrids that always concerns me, I do have drive modes by the way, I'm just going to put this into sport. I've got a choice of eco and sport. I'm going to change back to eco because frankly eco is plenty. This is a city car and it'll be used in the city. The one thing that you want out of a hybrid is good fuel economy, otherwise why bother? This is getting as low as 4.2 litres per 100 kilometres. At the moment I'm on 4.7 litres per 100 kilometres and that is because I left the system active while I was doing the outside bit. You can hear humming along quite nicely. I could, if I want, put the cruise control on. Just take that up to 80, lovely, and I'll put the automated steering on. The good thing about this is that I can have the automated steering on anytime. I don't have to have it on just when the cruise control's on. It is smart cruise control as well. And you can hear when I stop, there's just the whisper of the air conditioning. This feels like an EV in many ways. The cabin is reasonably quiet too. Though I noticed on the highway, I took the old girl down to the Gong, which is a 3.5 hour round trip. And the Niro really excelled. As far as safety gear goes, we've got active cruise control, active blind spot monitor, active lane departure, it tries to steer you back in. Now, a lot of people don't like those active features. They find them a little bit disturbing. But to be quite honest with you, I think once you get used to them, they're very difficult to live without. Now that I've stopped, we can talk about over-the-air updates, where the car company will send updates to your car. You're probably all familiar with it now, but I'll tell you about it anyway. The updates are the ones you used to have to go to your dealer to get. Now the car company can send them to the car via its inbuilt SIM card. And you get that subscription free for the first X number of years, depending on the brand. In Kia's case, it's 5 years. After that, in order to get those extra features, you want to have a subscription. They don't know how much that is yet, but because no one's got there, but it's probably going to be $5 or $10 a month. And although the top model has all the best things in it, this still has lots of stuff. We've got a camera that you can activate from down here on the center console. Every button is exactly where you expect it to be and does what you expect it to do. So to sum up, the fuel consumption is excellent. Oh, we're back down to 4.5 litres per 100 kilometres now. I don't know what the 5.4 was about. Power in sport mode is pretty good. The look, I think, is lovely. It's not cutting edge. It's nothing unusual, but it looks handsome. The interior feels like it's quality and feels like it will last for a while. The question you have to ask yourself is 41,000 and some change too expensive for a base model hybrid? And is 71,000 and some change too expensive for the same car in the top trim as an electric car, a pure electric car, because it is up against Tesla at that price. And some see Tesla as a luxury brand. I don't, but some do. That's all this week from the Kia Niro HEV. I think it's a handsome looking car, and I think Kia has done a really good job of designing it, making it look simple and making it work properly. Above all, it does what all hybrids should do, but not all do, and that is that it is fuel efficient. As always, leave a comment, hit like, and over there to subscribe.